Hi, everybody. My name is Ariel Williams, and I am with my partner today.
Hi, I'm Amara, and we are here to talk about one of the emotional intelligence frameworks, teamwork, and it actually falls under the relationship management quadrant. So, today we're going to talk about generally just what teamwork is. We already are familiar with it, so it won't be a hard concept to kind of go over. We're also going to talk about some norms that we find in high performance teams and some ways to consider how you can implement high performance skill sets within your team's upcoming.
So, first, we are going to go over a brief definition of teamwork. Teamwork is the ability to work with others towards a shared goal. And so, I also wanted to include a couple of pros and cons of teamwork, as we recently talked about. As Amara said, teamwork falls under the relationship management sector of emotional intelligence. So, some of the pros that one can anticipate with teamwork is a strong connection, value based relationships, and also intentional actions. There are also quite a few cons that can come with relationship building and teamwork specifically, which we will get to in just a little bit.
So when we think about what teamwork norms are, we're thinking about the cultural values and behaviors that one can observe from watching team members interact with another person within the team. And so we're going to kind of talk about some of those behaviors that may or may not help improve the performance of a team.
So, just a few norms that we covered in the book are going to be interpersonal understanding, efficiency, empathy, addressing counterproductive behavior, and team self evaluation. Depending on the nature of the team, certain ones of these norms are going to be more present than others, but all of them will be useful at some point in ensuring that the team is going to be successful in whatever their endeavors are.
I also want to add that a lot of the norms that you see on your screen here, all but the last one, team self-evaluation, they all are interconnected in gauging whether or not the team is going to be more successful or have more, conflicting behaviors in their teams. So the first norm, interpersonal understanding that we're going to cover is thinking about how a team leader or team members can just be more considerate of one another. And the main reason we can build interpersonal understanding is building our active listening skill set. If we listen and be able to notice the little details about our team members, we can use what we learn about what they like, what they don't like, what sets them off to be able to better engage with them in a way that brings out the most positive behaviors in our fellow team members. So we do have a clip that we're going to show you just to kind of highlight what this looks like.
Sack attack. Take a seat. On bass, Posh Spice. On keyboards, Mr. Cool. And on drums, Spazzy McGee. Okay, Blondie, brace face, you're singing back. The future of the band depends on you. Okay, your first mission, soundproofing this room. Get on it. Of course you can, Fancy Pants.
So as you can see in this clip, the teacher is only able to give these very specific tasks because he understands and knows his team members, his students in this case. So listening and paying attention to your team members can really help them highlight their strengths and better improve overall team performance.
So, for the next one with efficiency orientation, this is going to be a critical norm in a team that is based primarily on time sensitivity or some sort of deadline. The main goal of this norm is to have output. And with that being said, a lot of times leaders in these teamwork scenarios don't emphasize the input of the team. So they don't put a lot into the members of the team. They're more focused on consistent output. And so one of the things that these types of leaders and these scenarios will do is they will emphasize a sense of unity amongst the team and a sense of belonging. So we also have a clip for this one that we will show you. Additionally, they try to increase trust because everyone is on the same page about what the intended output or goal should be. So that's one positive side. And another one is that it boosts teamwork because it replaces uncertainty with predictability. So because all the members of the team are expected to achieve a consistent output, they also know very specific goals that they need to achieve individually. So individual efforts and strengths are also noted here, but weaknesses as a team as a whole will be shown in this clip.
And in the case of the telephone, it's up to each and every one of you, my highly trained Stratonites, my killers who will not take no for an answer, who will not hang up the phone until their client either buys or dies.
So as you can see in this clip, Leonardo DiCaprio's character did a great job of making sure pretty much everyone in the room knew that they were valued to the team and that they each could contribute something uniquely helpful to the team. But he did not emphasize any of their interpersonal strengths or anything. He was basically saying that if you don't produce, then you're useless to me.
So the next cultural norm within the teamwork framework that we're going to talk about today is empathy. And empathy, as we all know, is just understanding, the ability to understand another person's feelings and to be able to adjust our behaviors to accommodate those. And so we see that empathy is very much interconnected with interpersonal understanding, the first norm that we covered. And so when you have the ability to understand someone, how they're feeling and what's going on in their life, you can be able to improve your interpersonal relationship with that team member. And so we will check out another clip.
Finally. How are we gonna get him now? Pizza, anyone?
All right. So just to keep in mind that when having to note how to use empathy in a teamwork setting, too much empathy can hinder a team. So you do want to keep that in mind, that you can't always, adjust to accommodate a single incident that may not be as helpful to the team. So you have to use your good judgment to be able to assess criticism and still be able to hold people accountable if they're exhibiting behaviors that are not, conducive to the team.
And on that note, we're going to be addressing counterproductive behaviors. So this type of leader and this type of teamwork norm is basically focused on a leader who has a high level of emotional intelligence. So this is someone who's able to see that someone is contributing to the team in a useful way, but there are a lot of components of their behaviors, their mannerisms, or their attitude that may inhibit the overall success of the team. So the primary example will be Michael Scott. For those of you who have watched The Office, as we know, Michael Scott is a very empathetic leader for the most part. He truly does care about the workers at Scranton. However, a lot of his own personal sort of behaviors, such as, being funny or comical or having not a complete grasp on his own self-awareness or emotional self-control, has often hindered the team. So a major pro of this is that leaders who are able to control their level of empathy as it pertains to workers will be able to have great success using this norm. But as Amara said earlier, if you have too much empathy, then it can inhibit feedback. And just some positive things for these types of leaders if they're struggling in a teamwork setting, trying to address counterproductive behavior. A few tips are to basically try to challenge these leaders with new projects or members who are not receptive of counterproductive behavior feedback. You can challenge them with new projects, or you can encourage them to improve the work that they're currently producing. You can also be assertive. This is probably one of the most overlooked aspects of teamwork, is that, you don't want to come off as a domineering or authoritarian sort of leader in certain situations. But if it is overall hindering the success of your team, it's probably going to be your best bet. And number one is most importantly, probably just making it clear that a positive work environment is absolutely paramount to the success of the team. And you have to mention that, you are in an authoritarian position. And so unfortunately, you do have to make hard decisions sometimes. So with those teams, another thing that would be useful is team self-evaluation. Being able to periodically reflect on what is working for your team and what is not working for your team is going to be incredible in terms of projected success. However, you have to be careful because too much input can overwhelm a leader, and it also minimizes that leadership role. So here's a clip from Scandal that kind of shows what it's like to have team self-evaluation work and also not work at the same time.
People for a living, because per usual, I'm the last one to know anything, despite the fact I've done nothing but prove myself a valuable member of this team.
He's right. He's right? You need to start treating him like part of the family, because he is. You're serious. You actually said that with a straight face? Family? Family doesn't abandon one another. You abandoned us for him. For the White House. And since you've been back, your head is nowhere in the game. You spend more of your time spying on your other ex-boyfriend. You have a job. You wanted more responsibility. You have it. I took care of you. I never claimed to be a babysitter.
So in this scene, basically the team did address that between the team members themselves and not necessarily the leader, there was some tension. And so Olivia Pope did a great job of highlighting that Harrison was a member of the team. However, in giving that microphone to the team members, they also, Quinn in this case, overused it and saying that, you think that you're such a great leader, you've been absent, you've been MIA, which is good because Olivia needed to take accountability, but also bad because from another team member's perspective, it may look like her role as a leader was minimized.
People for a living.
Oops.
Last but not least, we want to make sure that we highlight some great features of great teams. And so great teams typically have relational competence, and relational competence is just consistently observing and sensing the emotional attitudes of team members. We noted that in the book, their research found that ineffective teams demonstrated less sensitivity to others' team members. So we want to try to avoid that in building our relational competence skill set. Also, team members giving people the opportunity to have a voice in a meeting or a general conversation is always great. Always trying to pass the mic to someone else to make sure you get adequate feedback helps to improve collective intelligence and reduce groupthink. That is all, folks. And again, my name is Amara, and I am just so glad to be able to share the floor with Miss Ariel Williams. Thank you so much for watching our teamwork presentation.